is KGO 810 breaking news.
All right, a working situation at SFO in Louisiana. Boeing 777 has crashed at SFO. Here's what we know at this hour live on KGO 810. The flight was coming in from Seoul, South Korea. It crashed on runway 28. It crashed while landing. This was not a situation where the plane was on fire and it crashed to the ground. This was a situation that the plane was landing on runway 28. And by all eyewitness accounts, and if you saw this, please feel free to call us at 80-810. What we know is the plane was landing on runway 28, and it appears, these are unconfirmed reports, that the tail hit the ground and that the tail snapped off. We are looking at a picture that was tweeted by one of the passengers that shows the plane on the ground at SFO. The plane is on fire. The tail is missing. The three doors that we can see, we're looking at the left-hand side of this aircraft. The three doors are open. There are emergency slides deployed from the front two doors of this Boeing 777. The rear door is open, but nobody's coming out of that door. We can also see that there is a large fracture where the wing connects to the main body of this Boeing 777. It looks to my eyes that there is a major fault, fracture, breakage. There is a point, and I can only guess this, where the tail hit the ground and the plane snapped in half and then skidded to a stop on the runway. I can also tell you I do not see the engine. This is a two-engine aircraft. They have two large engines attached to the wing. I see this wing on the left-hand side of the plane where the wing should be, or where the engine should be attached to the wing. The engine is missing. So this was a major incident, but it appears at this point that the 303 people, 290 passengers, 12 crew members, and an infant, we have not heard of a fatality yet at this point. But SFO is closed. There are major traffic implications. Let me get Sherry Brown. Paul Rogers. Let me get Paul Rogers. Paul Rogers, I apologize.
Yes, Monty.
What's traffic like around SFO?
Well, 101 is at a standstill in the southbound direction. I'm looking at the traffic sensors, and it is absolutely jammed all the way from 380 to SFO. Northbound direction backed up almost to Peninsula Avenue. Not quite as bad as southbound 101, but you'll want to avoid 101 at SFO because of this plane crash. And as you mentioned, Monty,
yes,
SFO closed. Flights are neither arriving nor taking off. You want to check your airline's website for updates. I tried logging on to SFO's website, but as you can imagine, I cannot get on. There have to be thousands of people trying to get onto that website. So check your airline's website for updates. Monty?
All right, that's Paul Rogers live in the KGO newsroom. Let's get out to Jenna Lane live at SFO. Jenna, what do you know?
I've just arrived just south of the airport using one of the access roads. Was able to get through a CHP checkpoint with my press pass, but anyone trying to get anywhere near SFO, as Paul Rogers has mentioned in our traffic reports, is out of luck right now because there are so many confused people on the road trying to get into the airport. They did not see the sign saying that the airport is closed. So the traffic is an absolute mess here. Having just arrived just a little bit south of the airport at the Millbrae Gate, I can see where this plane was coming in on one of those runways. Anytime you land at SFO, you know you have water on either side of you. So
yes,
this plane is well away from the main airport buildings. It is much closer to the very end of the runway. It seems like it may have just made it onto the runway here at SFO.
Jenna, can you still see smoke? Are you seeing any indications that this thing is still on fire?
No more smoke, no more fire, at least from what I can see. I'm looking across this section of the bay to that runway. I can see several charred parts of the aircraft, especially along its top. It looks, I did hear Kim McAllister say at one point that it may have flipped over, but unless my eyes deceive me, it looks like it's still upright.
It is. It is upright. It is. Yeah,
and
right. I would have a hard time believing this plane flipped over based on where it is. Jenna Lane live with us here. She is at SFO. And I know this might be an odd question, but I think it's pertinent. What's the weather like at SFO? Is it real windy? Is it cold? Is it warm? What's it like where you are?
It's gorgeous. There's a light breeze. There's no fog at all. It's a beautiful, still day, not a single white cap anywhere on the bay. So weather conditions seem pretty ideal for flying, though, of course, I'm not a pilot. The thing I'm keeping an eye on right now, Tim, are all of the ambulances and fire trucks that are surrounding this aircraft. Granted, if anyone were injured, they may already have been taken away because of how long ago this crash took place. But the emergency vehicles that are helping right now or that are surrounding the aircraft right now are pretty much staying in place. We do not see a lot of ambulances leaving the scene. And I came from the area right next to San Francisco General Hospital. I did not see any northbound ambulances on 101, no lights and sirens to the nearest trauma center to SFO.
Well, that's good news. Talking to Jenna Lane live at San Francisco International Airport. You're listening to breaking news coverage. A Asiana Boeing 777 has crashed on runway 28. Here's the latest details of what we know. That there were reportedly 303 people on this flight from Seoul, South Korea. An Asiana flight 777 from Seoul, South Korea, with 303 people, 290 passengers, 12 crew members, and an infant were on this plane. We also know that SFO is closed. SFO is closed. Nothing landing, nothing taking off. If you have business at SFO, either pick up or take off, I would highly encourage you to check with your airline. That's obvious. We are watching traffic around the area, which is snarled. But let me talk specifically about how this aircraft is sitting on the ground at SFO. As you heard Jenna Lane describe, it is at the very end of the runway. What we know is that this Asiana Boeing 777 came in. It was not on fire when it landed. There were early reports it was on fire. That has been, I think, reported to be not true. What we know is eyewitness reports are the tail hit the ground, which caused the plane to fracture. It slammed into the ground. From what I'm looking at this picture, which is about 50 feet away from the wreckage, the plane was on fire, but it did not burn the entire plane from what I can see here. And I continue to monitor Twitter, and I'm seeing an amazing amount of pictures coming through. And now an official tweet. Let me bring you an official tweet from SFO. An accident has occurred at SFO. Asiana Flight 214. So now we know it's Asiana Flight 214. Inbound from Seoul has crashed. Rescue efforts are underway. This is 2 minutes ago from SFO. An accident has occurred at SFO. Asiana Flight 214 inbound from Seoul has crashed. Rescue efforts are underway.